But I do like Cincinnati now to win that division. I think it's like Super Bowl or bust, one last year with Cincy. Because then T. Higgins is gone. You can't pay him, or you're not paying Jamar Chase, and they're going to pay Jamar Chase. Burrow's always going to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
Sixth easiest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah, I worry a little bit like Trey Hendrickson, who had 16.5 sacks last year, doesn't really want to be there, but I think he's just trying to renegotiate his deal. I don't love the secondary, but I do like that price, and I like Cincinnati if I got to do anything in that division. What about you guys?
I think it's Cincinnati for me, too, only just because of the Ravens' tough schedule, right? Like, fourth hardest schedule in the NFL. You're talking about a team that you lose two important weapons on offense. And I know maybe you don't think so, but both their top two running backs outside of Keaton Mitchell end up leaving the team and going to L.A. to play for Harbaugh. And that's just one of those situations where, like, I don't know. I think Derrick Henry's going to be pretty good.
Me too.
But is Derrick Henry going to be until Keaton Mitchell gets back healthy and every down back? Because I don't think he is. I don't think that you can give the ball to Derrick Henry 3 downs in a row all game long, especially considering that I'm not sure how good Rashad Bateman's going to be. I know that there's been a lot of optimism that he could progress, but I haven't seen it yet. Like Mark Andrews, he's coming off of an injury. Can he get back to what he was? I don't know. I like Isaiah Likely fine, but like Zay Flowers, you hope would take a step. But their offense is not much worse, but definitely a little worse. And there's some ambiguity in terms of how it's going to look. And I like Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, but I still have a little bit of the Kansas City taste in my mouth.
Yeah, for sure. I like Todd Monken too until we got to the playoffs.
Yep.
And he treated Lamar Jackson like he was Mahomes.
That was mind-blowing. Still to this point,
run the ball.
It's impossible to forget that.
Per carry.
And you mentioned Derrick Henry. Like the Ravens have proven they'll cycle through running backs like it's nothing. So there's a chance he's eating a ton of touchdowns through the regular season, but you're still at a spot where you're going to see a bunch of different running backs kind of going through the rotation for them. Something to keep in mind though with the Ravens. I understand the schedule is certainly tough. But Lamar Jackson's 18-3 in December and January. Best quarterback win percentage with at least 20 starts over that span. He's really, really good. Just touchdown passes alone, 39 touchdown passes, and then he's thrown 39 touchdown passes, 7 touchdowns in those months alone. Like, what he's done has been absolutely incredible at the end of the season. When a lot of guys go and melt down, you get the best football from Lamar Jackson. So you still at least look at them and go, we know that they can have success. We also know that the Ravens can have success when they're missing half of their roster, because that's happened time and time again.
Yeah.
But as long as Lamar Jackson is out there healthy, it gives the Ravens an opportunity to win that division. But the Bengals are a team that when you look at them at full strength, I do think that they are better than what Baltimore has.
Yes.
But here's why it's very obvious that the NFL wants Jim Harbaugh to get out the gate and feel good and get off to a nice start. Have you seen the first 2 games that the Chargers have on their schedule? The Raiders and the Panthers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Oh, man.
So, again, I get people are listening to the segment, and you're thinking, Horvat's a crazy person. He bets the Chargers to win the conference, the division, every year. But it's a plus 350 price, and they start their season with what we think could be 2 of the worst teams in the league. I'm not there with the Raiders. I don't like the Antonio Pierce hire. I know that they played well the final couple weeks of the season, and they played for him, but I don't care. That's a bad hire. And then you have the Carolina Panthers, which Bryce Young can't look any worse than he did last year, but still. I don't think they're going to be a good football team. I don't think they're going to be an 8-win football team this season. So you're not going to get a plus 350 price if the Chargers start 2-0 and if the Chiefs split their first 2. And the Chiefs, you have the Ravens, you have the Bengals, and then even week 3, Atlanta, you have to go on the road and play Atlanta in Atlanta. That's a tough game. And you know that Kansas City struggles against the run. And now you have Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and actual weapons for Kirk Cousins off the play action.
And then they play your team, the Chargers, September, what was that, 29th? I can't even read this thing.
Yeah,
it's all in red.
Today I was watching, I wasn't watching it. I just saw the clip actually 5 minutes ago. I was going to give a shout out, but I'm not going to lie. I saw the clip like 3 seconds ago. It was Kay Adams' show up in Adams, I believe, and she had Quentin Johnston. They were talking. He's going to have a year 2 leap. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
That's what he said.
What I'm saying, I don't really worry about the Chargers wide receiver room because the year that you're talking about where they go to the NFC Championship game and then the year that they go to the Super Bowl, Michael Crabtree was wide receiver number 1. You have Justin Herbert. They're going to look to run the football. And the defense can't be any worse than it was the last couple of years with, what was going on there. You had the J.C. Jackson situation where you had to move him already back to New England.
That was a disaster.
Joey Bosa's never healthy. Khalil Mack, asking him to play 80% of the season at his age is probably a big ask. But plus 350, and if they start 2-0, then we buy in on the Chiefs. Or if the Chiefs start 1-2, then we buy in on the Chiefs. And the Chiefs always start slow. They did like last year. They lost week 1 to Detroit outright as 6.5-point favorites. So I do like the Chargers a little bit this year.
I like the price. There's no way I lay minus 225 though.
I mean,
for the
on
Chiefs. Absolutely not. If you look at the schedule, like you said, with Kansas City, and they have a kind of a tough beginning, they could legitimately go 0-2, and they could. They're not going to go anything worse than that because I think they beat Atlanta, I think they beat LA, and I think they beat the Saints. Then they have a bye. They play the Niners. It's not a particularly hard schedule, but I will say this. I think there's better prices available midway through the year. Maybe you wait till week 3 before they play Atlanta.
I think week 3 is going to be my favorite bet of the year. Atlanta, we'll call it 3.5, and I'm going to also play the money line. I think Atlanta's going to beat Kansas City.
Well, then you might as well wait till week 4 to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win the division then. What do you think that price is if they go 0-3?
If 0-3?
Yeah, if they go 0-3.
And the Chargers go 2-1?
Yes.
3-0?
Yeah.
Man, we might get like plus 150. It won't be anything too crazy because it's still Mahomes
but you're getting
and the Chiefs,
plus money.
But you're definitely, or at least even money. And then maybe I'll buy back a little bit. But, I kind of like the Chargers this year, you guys.
I swear, after Game 5, I think everybody's now just out on Rudy Gobert. It was like, you said, wore his skin. That's what made me think of it. Like, Rudy Gobert his reputation might just be cooked.
And I understand why you're saying it, and it's fair. But I will say this. That's what it looks like when you're playing one of the 10 greatest players in NBA history smack dab in the middle of their prime. Like, I don't think it's a Rudy Gobert issue. I think he's deserving of the Defensive Player of the Year. But, no matter, what defensive player in the front court could you single up Jokic with now? He murders people. And so I think it more has to do with Jokic because traditionally Gobert does about as good of a job as you can against Jokic, especially in single coverage. So it's just, guys, we are watching, I want to put this on your radar now. We are watching, this is not a guy who's just top 5 in all-time triple-doubles. This is not a guy who's just won his 3rd MVP, 9th player in NBA history to do it. If they do over the next month what I think they're going to do, and that's win back-to-back championships, Jokic will be the finals MVP. You know how many players in NBA history have 3 regular season MVPs and 2 finals MVPs? Ready? Here's the list. In my opinion, it's the greatest basketball players who have ever played, and you can put them in any order that you want. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. That's the list. You will need a 6th finger here in about a month if things go down the way I think it's going to go down. He will have a top 10 argument without question, and that's what I think this that murder scene in Game 5 was about. It was about Jokic and not necessarily Gobert.